You guys asked for it. They fucking did it. They asked for it. And we brought this prick back.
Eric Hart in demand.
You'll be getting a call from my agent pretty soon. We're going to have to get
Eric Hart.
Contract negotiations.
We were just talking about it. Like, wow.
A share of the YouTube revenue, the 10 cents you get for...
Eric Hart is such a sensation on the Agree or Die podcast. People are just clamoring for more Hart all the time.
They got a real hard on.
Whoa!
They got a hard on.
Hey now.
Trademark.
I love it. Hard on. So, who has to report some cool news? Anybody?
What episode are we on?
41.
Wow. Yeah.
Follow us on the Twits. Mm-hmm. Leave your comments on the tubes.
Do it all.
We're now on Stitcher, so yeah.
What is this?
What is Stitcher?
Stitcher is some kind of it's like a podcast distribution platform. I'm actually not too sure what it is.
How long will this startup last?
Stitcher? I don't know.
There's a new one. Isn't there not a new one every month?
I think it's been around for a while.
There's definitely at least one new startup every month.
We got notes on Trello now.
I watch Silicon Valley. I know. That's a great show.
Trello's been around for a couple years.
Right, but I'm just saying we're on Trello. We were on, what was the other one? Google Docs? We had
Evernote.
Google Docs.
That's
just not going anywhere.
We're waiting for one of these companies to sponsor us, I think, is how it goes.
Yeah, that'd be
Somebody
nice.
will pick us up.
Still waiting.
Stitcher, give us a sponsorship.
Give us a sponsor.
And if you know of any
we'll tell everybody what you actually are.
If we know of any new apps that ever come up, send them our way, because we'll check them out. We're obviously, we like to be cutting edge, like to check out the new stuff.
We'll check apps out.
Well, I got some news.
Tell them.
I accepted a job offer.
Real lawyer.
Real lawyer.
Not a government fucking scumbag lawyer.
Not a government.
A real private scumbag
lawyer. Fighting the government.
A real blood-sucking lawyer. Fighting the government. I support that.
That's what this is. But it's the firm I've been interviewing with. They've been talking about it for a while. Working downtown. They threw me an offer, and yeah, I took it. So I have no idea what it's going to be like. It's going to be a lot of hours, a lot of work. But I might like it, so it could be cool.
Did you give those fuckers a counteroffer?
I did. They did not take it.
Wow.
They said no negotiations whatsoever. They were really hardball about it.
Wow, the fucking balls on those guys.
Are you a person who the type of law you get into is important to you, or the type of money that's on the paycheck is? Not to make you sound greedy, but I think a lot of us are. If I had two job offers or things come up, I might,
Well, I think there's definitely a misconception about lawyers and money in general.
There sure is.
Everybody thinks that if you're a lawyer, you are making big bucks, and therefore you're living the good life.
So that's why you have to send lawyers guns and money, because the lawyers don't come with guns or either money, is what you're saying.
That's true. Why are you sending
guns? Why are guns? What?
Lawyers, guns, and money.
Is that a thing?
Okay, well,
what are you talking about?
It's a song. It's a...
What fucking song?
Warren Zevon?
I don't know.
What the fucking planet is this guy from?
What exactly? This is why people bring me back on the podcast. Because everybody right now...
They got to get the Warren Zevon reference.
It's Warren Zevon.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Is he a...
I'm sorry.
Is there an opera singer or a rap artist?
I'm sorry to everybody listening right now.
What kind of artist?
He's like a 70s. Like, he's a guy that like Hunter S. Thompson would like him. Jesse Ventura would like him.
Okay. I know those guys.
David Letterman loved him.
All right.
That's a weird mix of people who love a guy.
Well, it's a popular.
I mean, okay. Here's what I'll say. So
Hunter S. Thompson, okay, got ya. Jesse Ventura, I'm like, okay, wait, lost me.
David Letterman. I mean,
there are hundreds of law schools.
Okay.
Right. And
each one of them has hundreds of students.
Hundreds of students. There's a new class of hundreds of students every year. And within those law schools, there's, everybody's ranked, because that's how grades work in law school. Wow. So you're ranked first to worst. So there's a lot of competition. Now, basically, if you're a top firm that's, one of the firms you're thinking of who's the corporate law, where you're getting that six-figure salary minimum, to get into one of those, you either need to be highly connected,
right,
and at the least be highly connected, and probably
first.
Either first or go to one of those top 20 law schools. I'm talking Georgetown, the U of M here, Michigan, Yale, Harvard, that kind of shit. If you're not in those law schools and you're not doing well in them, you're not even being considered. Now, you can still make good money, other ways at other firms, but really, there are hundreds of thousands of lawyers out there who are working for a pretty moderate salary in comparison to what you probably think. So this, the salary I'm being offered here is not the Kraken, is not crazy money. It's fine, but it's not it's going to be a lot of hours for not an amazing salary. And that's really a pretty realistic thing that most lawyers have to grasp with. And you come out of law school, and a lot of lawyers or law students who are graduating think they're entitled to the salary and entitled to this. And that's really not the truth. I mean, you got to put in your time most of the time. and work your way up to something. So for me, this job seems like something I could really like, could be fun. For one, I'm going to go to court a lot, which I really like. I like being in
I
court.
think it's fun. That's where the action is, right?
Exactly. Now, most lawyers don't go to court, like never. What happens is you spend forever dealing with motions, discovery, where you're gathering evidence and getting information to
Just
the
little
side.
bookworm little bitches.
Exactly. Motions, writing, legal, all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of writing and just getting ready for shit. You're never really in court unless you're working for like the government or you're in some kind of other job that deals with court a lot. So this is luckily one of them. So I'll be in court like a good percentage of my time, which is really cool. Because otherwise I'd just be sitting at a desk doing legal writing, which is incredibly boring. So the other thing is the jobs that pay a lot, that's what you're doing. You're mostly just doing writing, you're doing motions, you're doing, fact checking, going through papers and documents and doc review, and it's really tedious. But, eventually the idea is that you'll work your way up the ladder in that firm, and there'll be other people below you doing all the tedious work, and you'll be doing more interesting stuff, and you'll be making a crazy salary. So it's a balance. I mean, I think this could be something I like, and at the very least, I'm doing something fun, and it's a real job, and I don't have to worry about my contract ending like I did before. And then two, it's another thing to put on my resume that now I'm gonna all those jobs that I've been locked out of because it says need 1 or 2 year litigation experience.
Right.
Now I can get it.
Get some connections, some references.
Exactly. So yeah, it's cool.
What's your last name again? It's long, isn't it? It's long and hard to pronounce.
Yeah. What does that have to do with it?
Well, I just thought, I'm just thinking, do you ever think about changing it to try to get
if your name was going to be like this, and like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
like
like
Smith,
Liebon, West, and Seaman.
It's actually funny.
They
My
might
dad,
look at him and go, "Well, we can't make him a partner. No one's gonna know how to. No one's gonna know how to say our name in the phone book."
my dad actually changed his last name, so
Did he?
I'm one of the last in my line. Yeah. So
You know who else did it? Saul Goodman.
that's true. I believe that is true. Yeah, because he's not actually Jewish, right?
Better Call Saul. No, it was like,
Yeah.
but that was for a different reason.
Yeah.
But the big news for a podcast is Yuri might not have to be in the podcast that much because
Yeah.
he's going to be working so many hours.
And a lot of the job is travel too, so I don't know what I'll be traveling.
What the fuck is going to happen to the podcast?
You should audition people. That'd be great. Like every week, just have a new character.
People
That'd be
always
fun.
need to guess.
Be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
I do have to buy a car for this job though. That's gonna be part of what I'm gonna have to be doing here.
You don't
So if
have
you
a
have
car?
any, well, I have a car, but I'm gonna be traveling a lot, and my car is kind of like older and not great.
You're not driving. You're
I'm gonna be driving a lot.
My muffler.
Really?
Fell off.
Yeah.
My muffler.
For
fell
example,
off last
I could be driving to a hearing in Madison on a day.
man. Tell those fucking bitches you need a new car
Yeah.
over there. Hey,
Well,
yo, boys,
expensive.
give me the company car, son.
No
So
negotiation.
one of the nice things about this, the salary isn't amazing, like I said, but there's a mileage reimbursement. I'm gonna be traveling a lot, like every week. Right? So, like, for example, if I travel to Madison for a hearing, which is apparently something they do commonly, I'll be reimbursed. It's 260 miles both ways. I get a 0.55 reimbursement, right, for the miles I go.
I think the IRS is in at 0.57 and a half.
I think, yeah. How do you know that?
They
You're
just
driving.
instituted it where I'm working.
Yeah, so I think I'll probably actually get that. But, so that'll earn me that trip alone, $288, right? But I'll probably spend on gas, especially if I get a new car with a good gas mileage, maybe 100.
And prices are supposed to stay low throughout the summer this year.
Yeah. So really, I'll be making pretty good profit just on the trips on top of my salary.
Nice.
So that'll be kind of cool. And I like the idea of chilling in a car. I can listen to podcasts, maybe some audiobooks. That's something cool because like the hours, normally when you're working long hours, you're working in the firm.
Yeah, you're traveling long hours.
A lot of my hours we travel.
So you're getting paid to travel.
Essentially, yeah.
But I told Yuri about this. But anybody who's working, don't let them fool you that mileage reimbursement is part of your pay.
Yeah.
It is not. It's fun when you're like, oh, you spent 20 on gas and you got $100. That's all cool, fun and games until your car fucking breaks, and then you got to buy a new car. Yuri's got to buy a car first to have this job. So
and
it's nice to have reimbursement,
Yeah.
but it's not that offsets the cost that your tire's gonna go flat.
and you're
gonna
getting
get fucking
oil changes and shit.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm not really counting that at this
Right.
point, but it'll still be a nice little bonus every week that I get to think about.
I don't want any of our readers to go, well, that's cool. It's a cool perk. It's not. It's not a perk. It's just they have to do that if they require you to travel, and that's government determined.
But I'm hoping if I kill it for 3 months, 6 months, I'll get a little bump. I think they kind of insinuated
3
that.
months. That's a quick bump.
Well, in 3 months I get a review, like a performance review, and they didn't guarantee anything. But I'm thinking, if I'm killing it, they might say, well,
All right.
we'll hook you up a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But either way, hey, I'm fucking employed now. I'm a real lawyer.
Now, I heard, Yuri, that you can earn 6 figures just begging on the streets. That's
a fantastic segue, and I have heard that too, actually, and that's one of the things we wanted to discuss.
a segue drink here. Ready?
Clink for that.
Segway clink. Everybody drink. We got a segue. We've been off segues lately. We're coming back.
Yeah, we'll come back on it a little bit. Yeah, so how did you come into this? Or did you hear the story first, or you heard this around?
This is your story you put. I brought up this topic a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where I said this is based on a real conversation I had with people who I work with. Where I used to work in Uptown Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. So every day when I came home from work, I drove past almost 100% 3 panhandlers on the on-ramp.
At least.
And they got the sign. It was always 3 because I
always on a ramp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was always on the. There was one when I got a 35W, one when I got off 30. Oh, so anyway. And there was different people all the time. It was always a different person. Some, I saw the same 10 people, but like it was a variety. And I would very often give them money.
Okay.
I often give them money because it makes me feel good.
Now, how do you give them the money? Do you roll down your window and then they walk up?
Yeah.
You toss it?
Yeah, I did it the other day. I just gave a guy $1.
You just go, hey buddy, and then he comes over and you give him $1. He says, God bless you, and then.
Now, do you do it if you're the 4th or 5th car back? Do you try it?
No, I don't.
I noticed this with people.
It's
convenient for you. Well, they'll walk down.
Sure they would, yeah.
But for me, it's also the idea like when I'm in their face or they're in my face, I get that kind of shaming,
right?
Which I'm sure a lot of people get, and they get a lot of money.
That's probably where it mostly comes from. But I don't have any doubts that I don't think that the dollar I give a guy is going to get him out of a situation. Mm-hmm. I only do it for myself. It's very selfish giving.
I fully agree with that.
I know that. It makes obviously he likes to get it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it makes me feel good to give it to him. You know what I mean? It makes me feel good because I did something nice for somebody. I don't give a fuck what he does with it.
And for me, it's always the idea of for example, the other day I was going to get food. Right, I'm about to go spend $6, $7, $8 on food, and it's like, well, fuck, what's an extra $1 at this point? I spend on anything else. It's
exactly.
Yeah.
So I do it, but anyway. Yeah. So I forgot. This happened years ago. Mm-hmm. At lunch, conversation with my friends at where I worked, and I forgot how it came up, but somebody brought this up, and I've heard it a lot of times where, well, I never give panhandlers any money. Panhandlers are the people who, not performers, people who just have a sign.
Buskers.
Yeah.
Just people who have a sign. I never give them any money because I heard they actually make more than we do doing that. And I was like, that's the fucking stupidest thing I've ever heard anybody say. There's no fucking way they make more than you, okay, working in a real company with a real job with a technical degree. There's no fucking way they're making, $60,000 up panhandling on the fucking street corner. There's no fucking way. Whatever you consider a good wage.
Right.
What are you talking about? You make $7 an hour?
Right.
With no home, looking like they're homeless people, that you think they're having a great time doing that? They chose that life and
they're gonna retire to
instead of going to college and working hard like you, they chose to just sit on their leather ass and fucking earn money that way. That's what you think that happened? We got in a little heated conversation about this. I was offended straight up. It's an excuse for them.
Well, it also sucks to even consider it for you because it's like, well, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
Oh, because I work so hard to be where I am and they just earn my living.
Yeah.
But it's just if you don't want to give your money up to somebody, just be straight up about it. It's my money, I earned it, I'm keeping it. That's a fair statement to say. Don't make up a fucking excuse. I read a blog post once where a guy made $100,000 a year begging, so I'll never give money to him.
Well, that's the situation here is that it's just like when you hear somebody got rich on Bitcoin or somebody, it's the one outlier that makes the story that makes everybody think. They found a homeless lady one time. Apparently, this is a story I remember that died or whatever it was, and she had a fanny pack, and in her fanny pack they found a couple $1,000s. So she was always walking around with a couple thousand.
Well, she has no bank account.
Well, then people just took it to be wow, she was actually more loaded than you think.
She had no house, no car. Yeah. She had $1,000 in her fucking pocket.
But people will extrapolate a story like that and just say they're actually not that bad off, and they're actually not empty-pocketed at the every morning when they wake up.
Well, have you changed your thoughts on this at all since?
No, I haven't, not at all.
Because I will say that in the research I've been doing, I've seen that a lot of these beggars, from what I can tell, actually can make a pretty crazy living doing this.
Well, now, okay, Yuri posted in our Trello conversation here. Yuri posted a few examples. You have one where a guy, first off, he claims he makes $100,000 a year. That's not been confirmed.
He said 60 to 100. Yeah.
60 to 1,000. Yeah. 60 to 100 is, I would say, a good living. That's what I make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they're not paying taxes.
Yeah, it's all tax free. But here's a guy who pretends he's mentally handicapped in a wheelchair, and he goes around acting
he's actually in a wheelchair.
He's actually in a wheelchair, but he's not mentally. He's mentally fully there.
Sure, yeah.
But he pretends that he's handicapped, and he tells a story about how his mom, she got into a car accident, and he was in the car and whatever. A sob story. He claims he makes 160 to 100 grand a year, which, I mean, that's a claim he makes. I don't know if it's true. Maybe it's true.
If he's a guy that is able to craft stories.
But he's a con artist. He's not a beggar. He's a con artist. He found a way to make a pyramid scheme or a fucking way to exploit people. Maybe this guy makes 100 grand a year.
For sure. I mean, he's probably an outlier. But,
right.
But what is he doing that differently than a lot of these other beggars? A sobrier story?
You know what? You're right. That's a great point you're saying. Because he's better at it than others.
Probably, yeah. But that doesn't mean that everybody else isn't getting possible. I think the idea, the takeaway for me for this is that a lot of beggars are probably making more and taking more in than you might think.
See, I disagree with that.
I don't think they're getting. I don't think a lot of these people don't clear $25 in a day.
Right,
which is enough to eat.
You don't think
they buy enough to get one bottle of vodka, and then that's how much to get.
Well, let's think of it this way: the guy in the freeway. How much do you give him? $1?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you give him $1. The next wave of cars comes. Let's say maybe.
Okay, gives him $1.
I mean, do you really think that in that hour all those cars come up on the freeway?
I look at it too. I look at it about maybe every 4 stoplights.
If he gets
$1 every 10 minutes.
It's okay,
$6
right.
an hour.
$6 an hour.
$6 an hour. Now
that seems pretty good.
He could be out there as long as he wants, right?
Sure,
it's tax free.
Let's say he works 10 hours a day.
Yeah,
works.
I mean, I guess the other thing, it's not. You are just standing there. It kind of sucks.
Where else are you going to go, though?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not a good job. You know what I mean?
No, it's not.
The other guy you said,
but for doing nothing.
The other link you had is a guy who, is in New York and he sleeps with. He tries to look attractive. He tries not to look homeless, and he tries to look like a party guy. And he hooks up with girls and he goes to their houses and has sex with them. And then uses their shower and kind of sleeps with them and that's his whole life. He's homeless, but he's kind of lives this bachelor lifestyle where he tries to pick up chicks and go home with them. And he admits that he doesn't wish this life for anybody.
That's a lot of work.
He admits that. He says nobody should do what he does. He said nobody could do it. He does it and he makes it happen. But he's an alcoholic. He spends all his money on vodka. He's not living a good life. You know what I mean? Even if he what is making a living? And then I posted a story myself about a family in Oklahoma or some shit who have a kid who make about $30,000 to $40,000 a year just Walmart parking lot panhandling.
I mean, that sounds not crazy to me. That sounds more.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
But they make a variable $30,000 to $40,000 a year. 2 of them panhandling full time. That is not a good life to have.
No, I think it sucks, and I think, and I'm not saying that you should quit your job and go begging.
No, absolutely not.
But I just think it's interesting that there is a lot of variation, and if you can be good at it. There are people out there who are just, and I don't know. I guess I don't have any takeaway from this or anything I'm trying to prove.
Well, my
takeaway is an interesting thing to think about.
Is you got these people who are, they have a child, they live in motels, they don't have a house because they're not guaranteed to make the payment every year.
I think it's basically just there are people that get all outraged and mad about it. Because these people are apparently doing nothing. They're contributing nothing is what people...
But they spend 10 hours standing around looking like homeless people.
It's not... I just think
it's not an easy... They're not choosing that life.
It doesn't get to me much, especially since they aren't getting paid because of some necessity.
Well, you know what offended me?
It's because people like you or you give them $1 here or there. It's not...
Try standing around for 3 hours one day.
Yeah, in a fucking street corner.
In a park.
With a fucking cardboard sign.
And not doing anything. You can't read a book. You can't do anything fun.
You're bored out of your mind.
Fuck off. But here's what offended me the most about...
not listening to iPods.
The original conversation I had with my coworkers at an uptown internet company that makes websites. So we're all fucking, hip technology doofuses. What offended me the most is here's a statement I made. While we were all eating sushi at a sushi restaurant, okay, I made this statement. Any one of you at this table, there were 8 of us there, any one of you at this table could easily afford to give $1 to a homeless person on the way home today, and it would not affect your life in any way. And 3 people said, absolutely, that's not true. While we were eating sushi at a fucking sushi restaurant during our lunch break, at our cushy fucking job, where we wear slippers, we have free soda, how fucking dare you say that that's not true?
That should be your thing. If you ever own a company, that should be how you clear out... You're fired.
You know what? Absolutely. That's absolutely true. I couldn't believe they would look me in the eye and go, that's not true. You're making an assumption about the way we live. I'm like, fuck you. If you can spend $17 eating that fucking sushi appetizer right now, don't fucking tell me you can't give $1 to that guy who's standing on the street for the last 10 hours. Mm-hmm. Get the fuck out of my face with that shit. It was a heated conversation. I got pissed off at a lot of my friends over there because of that fucking bullshit. How can they look me in the eye and tell me that? If you don't want to do it, just say I don't want to fucking do it. Yeah. But don't make an excuse they make more than I do. Why should I have to give them... I work hard for my living. Fuck off. You know what I mean?
Seems like a weird hardball stance. But
What, mine or theirs?
Theirs.
Well, yeah, it's a weird fucking hardball stance. Like they're making me feel like, oh, you don't know my life. I know you're buying sushi.
I could definitely give more money to homeless people.
Yeah.
I just don't for a variety.
Sure.
Maybe I don't want to roll my window down. Maybe I'm in a weird spot in the car.
Could be a lot of things. But don't pretend you're doing it because you read a blog once where one fucking guy made $100,000 begging. Fuck off with that.
Yeah. Whenever I always am really aware of it. Whenever I'm going to get food or coming out of somewhere where I got food, and I'm just like, you know what? I could have just bought a soda right now, and I just choose not to. Well, I'll just give this fucking guy $1. A lot of it is just I usually don't carry cash around. Now that'd be something interesting. I wonder.
They take Bitcoin donations.
Is since like credit cards have become really prevalent
I'm sure it affected
over the last 10 years.
I bet it affected begging a lot.
Right? Like I wonder it'd be interesting to look at stats in the, let's say, 60s of beggars versus stats today of beggars and how credit cards affect them, because so few people carry cash nowadays.
I thought somebody had something where they put on they had an iPhone and then they just like, what if you just stood downtown?
If a beggar had an iPhone though, that would really affect his fucking bottom line too.
I really if he goes, oh, it's cool, I've got this.
Dude, it's cool. I stole it.
Yeah,
It fell off a truck. It fell off a truck
right here.
But you know what's tie into our last week's topic where we talk about those charities. That was one of that fucking cancer charity. You weren't here, but I don't know if you saw the story. These fucking guys were exposed for running 3 cancer charities that were all a sham. I mean, allegedly a sham. But they 90% of the money they took and just bought themselves yachts and gave themselves bonuses out of a cancer charity. They just fucking scam people and took all the money for cancer, took all the money, and then didn't donate it to charity. You know what I mean?
Whose fault is it? Is that buyer beware? Is that the donator's fault?
I would say that's the government's fault.
It's the government's fault.
I would say in this case, if you're going to have charity status. I might be wrong. This is the only time I ever thought about it. But if a company claimed that it's a charity and is going around making websites and collecting millions of dollars in donations, they scam $200 million. These people who got caught. If they're making that much money, making all kinds of public spectacles, the government should be involved. Going, wait a minute, are you really a charity? I think that's the government's responsibility in this case.
That sounds opposite of like your Uber stance, where
Uber,
the market, where the consumer should be the one responsible for
Uber, the cab company.
Uber, the cab company.
What's my stance on Uber?
Your stance on Uber was that the government should stay out. It shouldn't be regulated.
Uber's not a charity.
It's not a charity, but it's a business that. The question of if they're a legitimate business or not, you said should be up to the consumer.
What is a legitimate business?
If you're a charity, you have to be involved with it.
I mean, the fact that it's if I give
but you're choosing who to give your money to. So is it your fault for giving to a shitty ass charity?
Well, you're totally right. But even like my expectation is that the government has these people registered somewhere with some fucking charity bureau. Maybe I'm fucked up, but that's what I'm thinking.
But the rules are not that that a charity has to meet a threshold of like you have to give 50%.
But I think those are the rules, though.
You can't embezzle.
Are you saying those aren't the rules?
You can't embezzle like the money you're.
You can't embezzle, but you can pay. You can certainly pay your board whatever you want to pay. Look at all tons of these cancer charities.
Yeah, but
the Komen Foundation.
These companies are embezzling. That's the issue.
Wait, what are you saying? You're saying all the charities?
There's a lot of charities that only a fraction of your money of your dollar goes to an actual like cancer research, and a lot of it goes to administrative costs, which is just paying people that are on the. It's just paying for the fancy people to go around and throw a benefit and pay for the catering at the benefit.
What are you basing what you're saying on right now?
Plenty of articles. The people always get upset about this because there's websites where you can research how much of your money goes to the actual cause and how much goes to like gets eaten up by a monster charity that's basically a large corporation with a board of directors that some of them make 6 figures.
Not everything you're saying is false right now, but I feel like you're kind of all over the place. So I don't really understand what point you're making.
Well, what I'm saying is you're looking at the government should step in and be the one that's responsible for monitoring.
Well, what the fuck
how efficient a charity?
What's a charity then? Is there? I mean, if you're versus a business. If you're the business that is the Cancer Foundation and you can give money to us or not,
sure.
Or you're the charity that is to me, that's a big distinction that should be regulated in some way, where if you're a charity, then X amount of the money you get in donation should be donated to charity.
And what I'm saying is in the past you've said the opposite, where they shouldn't be regulated. It should be up to the person making the donation.
Fuck what I said.
To know how...
Fuck what I said in the past. I'm curious now, what do you know about whether or not the government regulates what is a charity and what is a business?
That I don't, but what I'm saying is that if these guys were able to... I don't understand what you're saying.
I'm asking you what you... I think that when you call yourself a charity, like if you want to call yourself a business in America,
right,
that requires certain things. You have to jump through hoops.
What would it be a charity? You got to register as the tax. You have to have a certain tax process.
You have to maintain a certain way of doing business and a certain decorum within your corporation, within your nonprofit charity, in order to maintain your status as a charity and maintain tax-exempt status.
And here's
if
what
you
I
are
hear.
The government, just like when you file taxes, clearly they've been lying to the government. Just the same way the government would come after a taxpayer who's lying on their taxes, they should come after a charity. So
If
there's
they're lying.
So fucking.
Well, what I hear
they're embezzling money. They are lying. They were caught for this. I don't understand.
Okay. Oh, so this isn't about embezzlement, but I thought you were saying the government has to be the one that is responsible
They need to
for
make sure
figuring
that-
out if
Absolutely,
money is
they
actually
are.
going.
If the CEO of a charity is reporting, "Oh, I made $2 million this year," wait a minute, from fucking what money? That's what the IRS should be doing. Give me your fucking money. That's what they should be doing because that's the IRS's job. I mean, the case of Uber, you're putting me on. I mean, when I get an Uber ride, I get a fucking Uber ride. I'm buying a product. That's easy. If I think an Uber ride is worth my money, I pay for it. It's done. If I'm giving you money for free to donate it to cancer research and you just pocket the cash, who the fuck's fucking...
So you're saying all the money was pocketed, nothing went to cancer
Well,
research?
Very small portion.
Or is it
A
just,
lot went
or
to
is it
that.
just not as big of a percentage? What percentage do you think should be mandatory to actually go to whatever?
I mean, that's a great question, Hart.
Because that's what most people. That's what I'm saying. is
You're
most
asking me
people
a great
don't
question
know.
right now.
There's a lot of people that are always surprised when some investigation shows that actually only 25 cents of your dollar went to actual research, and the rest went to
25 cents I think would be okay.
You think only just a quarter of your donation actually gets? That doesn't sound very efficient to me. That's what I'm saying.
You're right. It's not. Well, I mean, they gotta, they have costs. They gotta pay people.
I think you have to be able to prove your costs are reasonable to run a
Right.
charity.
So if you're buying yachts,
These are assumptions.
Well, they did buy yachts.
Well, but I mean, if you have to prove a reasonable amount, I don't know
Well-
if there's any rules about that.
First of all, nonprofit organizations are regulated by state, local, and federal laws.
I just don't know if that has to do with like a percent, how much of your money gets put to a charity.
Well, you have to show you're not for profit. So you have to if you're for profit, and
but that's the thing is paying your board of director, paying your chairman $100,000 that's not profit. That's an expense.
Right.
And that's what it is. That's where it's the people that run them that are just shaking hands. And
I mean, I would say the law would be a percentage of the donations you gain
would be
need to
nice
go
if
to
that was
charity.
the
I
case.
think the difference is there can't be shareholders. So you can't allocate any of the profits to shareholders. You know what I'm saying?
But you can pay people salaries, and that's where.
So what the fuck then? We can't
you
ever
can
do
throw-
it
you
charity
can, like
again?
I said, you can throw a gala and actually expense the cost of the gala.
I can buy stock in Uber. I can become a shareholder of Uber, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if Uber does well as a company, I get money as a shareholder. There's that incentive. And people who are on the board in companies usually are shareholders. Therefore, they want to run the company well and get profit. In this case, there's no incentive that way. You're just paid a salary on the charity board, and you're running it strictly to keep the charity going for the purpose of the charity. Does that make sense?
Like CEO pay, I think a lot of
Well,
it's
sure, it
gonna
makes
be
sense,
inflated.
but
What I'm questioning is
fuck
that.
is this?
What I'm questioning is now you're calling for the government to step in this case, when in other cases you think it's up to the market to patrol.
Well, yeah, but you're using the case of Uber. That's
That's the one I
two
remember you
different
talking
things.
about.
Yeah, but what's the government going to do? What would I want the government to stay out of an Uber, I guess? I don't remember what I said.
Well, because the taxi companies were mad because Uber was
they're doing a better job being a taxi
because they didn't
company.
have to be. They weren't regulated by the same safety. The drivers and the safety. They weren't licensed. They didn't. They could bypass all of that, and that's put in place by the government to keep a check. It's like, what if there's a new type of charity that didn't have to answer to the government, and people said, "Well,
I wouldn't donate money to that charity.
well, then
I
you
guess.
wouldn't, because that'd be on you." Well, that's
Well, they wouldn't be a charity because they wouldn't.
Well, yeah, I would say.
What I'm just saying,
you can't not be
what I'm
regulated.
surprised about is Krasny over here calling for the government to be the policeman when
Because
always
the government is the one allowing charities to be charities. Do you understand what I'm saying? The government doesn't allow Uber to exist. Uber exists as a company. Like your pizza place isn't saying the government doesn't go, okay, you can have a pizza place, go ahead, and then hands off. You open your pizza place as a private person.
But even
the difference here is a charity began by permission of the government and is run under certain regulations by the government.
But it's still, people still have a choice in them. There's still a marketplace of charities. And that's where I'm just surprised that Krasny's not harping on people who's giving money to these idiots instead of...
Well, I mean, I expect the government to do its fucking job.
I mean, maybe you can make an argument that charity should be regulated better, or there should be more regulation.
I mean, that's what I'm saying right now.
I think the issue here was that they lied. They lied about where the money was going. There was a lack of transparency and accountability, and that's where so there's no way you could have found out. They were.
I guess if I rebuilt the world, then the government would. Then nothing would. There would be no charity. There would be no government. You know what I mean?
The only people you're reporting to.
There is a government. So the fact that I expect the government to do what its job is...
The charity is reporting to the government. And the government's supposed to look through the books and say, okay, well, your books are off. You're clearly embezzling.
You're not being a fucking charity, motherfucker. So you pay the IRS now and go to jail. That's what the government's supposed to do. But instead, these guys take charity status. They take my money for no product. Like, people are donating money out of the kindness of their heart to a charity they trust because what authority gave that entity to be a charity? The government did.
All right, I thought I had you there on your little. All of a sudden,
you think you fucking had me?
You're calling for the government to,
you got
save.
Hey, I can call it the government when the fucking government needs to do its job.
Okay.
You got to register with the government to be a charity.
I get how you're saying that. I'm just saying, as far as philosophy goes, it's just surprising to hear.
What I was going to say before we went on this before Eric Hard derailed me.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, no, you're right. I mean, if you're saying is right, then I can't donate to charity ever again.
Well, they have to, somebody's got to run the charity, and you can't, nobody's volunteering.
Well, now I need to know what the fucking charity is then. What does the word charity fucking mean?
Here's the thing. Here's the two sides of this is you can do your due diligence when you donate. Or you can trust that the government has some sort of threshold that says your money's not going to waste.
Well, that's exactly what it is. But anyway, what I was going to say is don't let one bad experience with a charity stop you from donating a charity ever again. And that's don't let one story of a homeless person making a lot of money stop you from donating to homeless people, because most people aren't the guy making $100,000 a year. You know what I mean? So, bottom line is when I give $1 to a homeless guy, it makes me feel good because it makes me feel like I'm doing a good thing. And that's a good feeling. And that's worth $1 to me generally. So I do it.
I think you need to look at it this way. Charities are companies. They're corporations. The only difference is with a corporation, all the money that comes in keeps going to people. You know what I mean? It never stops going to people. It's always coming into the people's pockets, whether it be the shareholders or
There's no shareholders, you said.
I'm thinking regular company.
Okay.
In a charity, the money that comes in, at a certain point, it caps out to where it's going to the people who work there, and everything above that cap goes to the benefit, the cause.
But what's the cap?
That's I think an interesting question. Is what is the cap, and what should be the cap, and how does that work? I think that's an interesting question, but that's the difference.
Because there's charities that have their own
But at the same time,
charities that have vehicles. There's charities that have the Gulfstream jets. Yeah. There's charities that are big enough. I mean, they're obviously big. And they obviously make a lot of money. But still, some of these things are getting to the point of excess.
When you see a pink ribbon, what do you think of?
Breast cancer.
Right? And the reason you think of that is because breast cancer spends millions and billions of dollars every year advertising it, right? Now, they also get a lot of money, and a lot of that goes to charity, but a lot of that money is going to advertising. And the reason you hear about it is because it's being advertised. Right. Now, at some point you're thinking to yourself there, well, do I want my money going to advertise the charity, or do I want it going to benefit the cause? But
I would say that there would be a cap on how much you can spend on advertising.
And so I think that's where there can be an interesting.
25% of donations can be spent on advertising.
And
only.
Maybe there is. I don't know.
But there are situations where, just like if you think of political campaigns, in a sense where if some candidate gets a certain amount of money but they don't win, they might push their money, and it's legal to do so, into another PAC or another candidate.
Yeah, that stuff's fucked.
And so the same thing with charities. If you have small-time charity, it's okay to pass your money on to another charity. Well, then you already took out your money, your fees, and so it's like everybody kind of has down the line. They're all kind of picking some of this money out, and that's where it's kind of people get mad when there's people that probably assume or think that 90% of their dollars should go to research, and it's like they're surprised when they find out it's only 50% or sometimes less.
You know what I learned from this whole thing? This is just one other thing the government can't fucking do right.
I just think it's another way that greed finds a way to play the market. I think it's a way for people to play the market.
How's that not fair?
Well, because a lot of these companies have to, or these charities have to do certain things to exist, including pay people salaries.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But there should be no fucking yachts being given out.
Yeah, just because they failed in one regard doesn't mean the whole thing is fucked. So I don't think you can take from it that the government has fucked up completely in charities. They fucked up in these cases, and maybe they're fucking up more.
Right.
But I fuck up at my job. You know what I mean? Everybody fucks with their job. It doesn't mean you're a complete fuck up. Like, there's a lot of things that go into a lot of nuance. Who am I kidding? Go extreme. Why am I trying to stop you?
I'll tell you what.
Why am I trying to? I'm plugging I'm plugging a leaky bow with band-aids
like,
here, trying to get crazy and not be extreme.
You got these fucking regulations and rules. Yeah. You got these fucking rules. Mm-hmm. Then I'm gonna be like, look, I'm gonna make the fucking Agree or Die podcast charity, and you can donate all the money to me, and I'm gonna donate it all to fucking animal welfare. That's what I'm gonna donate it all to. I promise. Mm-hmm. Then instead, I fucking pocket the cash, buy myself a bunch of fucking cool computers, pay Eric Hart a fucking $60,000 a year salary.
On the board. Well, yeah, absolutely.
And then I spend $0 on animal welfare. What the fuck stopped you from doing that?
10%. If you
fuck it,
I guarantee you could get away with it if you gave 15%.
What's stopping me from doing that?
Now I think something's gotta be. We just don't know.
Maybe we don't know, but it's like, well, how do they make $200 million before the IRS? The fucking IRS. And it's like, of all the things the government's great at, it's sucking fucking money out of people. They're so good at sucking the fucking money out of you.
So is anything else.
Unless you're a fucking rich guy, then they'll leave your fucking money. Mm-hmm. Like, what the fuck lesson is this? How do they make $200 million under the IRS's microscope and then go, whoops, you got me. Oh, and the penalty is, hey, Eric Hart, you thieving fuck. Don't ever have a fucking charity again. Don't you ever fucking dare start another charity.
That's the thing. I wonder that sometimes. So, as a person with a I believe a noble heart a lot, it seems like the people that find ways to scam the system are the ones that win in life.
Well, sure.
It seems like.
But that's what the government's there to keep scammers away, isn't it? If we're gonna have a fucking government, the least it can do is keep a fucking charity honest. Get the fuck out of here. So what do we learn from this story? What do we learn from this story? A, if you have a United States government sanctioned charity, you can steal $200 million from U.S. citizens, and if you get caught by the IRS, you get a slap on the wrist. Eric Hart, don't ever have a charity again. Keep the fucking money. Keep your yacht. Keep your yacht. Enjoy your boat ride, but don't have a charity again. Though.
Wait till you get on a rant. If the government cracks down, wait till you get on a rant where you're like, I can't decide what charity my money goes to. I can only pick cancer, and then the government decides where it goes. I mean, you have to decide whether you let people decide where their money goes or not. I mean, that's a lot of money for them.
Those two are not opposite things. Like you can't say governments should regulate charities better, and the obvious result is that governments have outlawed all but two charities. Like, there's a middle ground. Both of you guys, come on.
There is, but where's
This some more bullshit.
Where's the $200 million coming from? How many people were duped into this without looking up, or finding?
They don't need to look it up because they trust the government to fucking say this is a charity. Yes, they're required to donate the money to charity. And if the government doesn't do that, then what the fuck is it doing with all my fucking money? I'm already donating my money to the fucking government charity every fucking paycheck. And they can't even do this right?
The Red Cross apparently does a very good job of keeping administrative costs low. Yep. Their administrative costs are less than 5% of their total overhead.
Wow.
And they spend 92.1% of their income on actual programs.
Great fucking job, Red Cross.
Wow.
World Vision is a good one. Doctors Without Borders.
What are you reading right now?
Just reading about different...
what website are you on that you're reading this?
Right now...
What percentage of donations go to charity?
Charity.lovetoknow.com.
Lovetoknow.com.
And that's the thing. Is just stop going... If your corporate buddy just made up a new charity for cancer, great. There's 1,000 already, and just donate to the one that's most popular, or one of the ones that's most popular.
So maybe the lesson we can learn about this is do little research.
Google your charity, and there are websites. I should link to them, but there are websites that approve. They're like charity websites that approve charities.
Charities that spend more than 30% on their overhead. Jewish Guild for the Blind, George Bush Presidential Library Foundation. Watch out for them.
I just think there's a lot. There are. I think there's a lot.
You know that Jews are behind that
George
shit.
I do think there's just a lot of charities that serve as they're just toys. They're money making toys for some of these people because it's how many cancer charities do you need? I bet there's thousands of them out there that are established and certified. But it's like, do we really need all these different ones?
What does it mean certified? That's the question here.
They've received tax-exempt status.
Well, fuck them. If you're gonna get tax-exempt status, you got some fucking regulations. If the government's fucking that up, the government's fucking up.
You should you should make an agree or die. We should do an experiment like the Stephen Colbert Super PAC. We should do the agree or die charity.
Well, for our 90 listeners,
Sure.
a fucking super PAC.
You don't even have to. You don't even have to have the listeners.
Someone
more like a
go
live
through the
dick
process.
pack. You know?
There was a comment I think it was like a month ago or something, and he goes, "Why do you guys do this?"
Is it worth the effort for just 90 listeners?
Yeah, and I was just like,
He's right.
You know, that's a great question.
You know, here's my stance on to respond to that comment.
Yeah.
If you do anything on the internet long enough, you will be successful at it. It's a very
well, at least
perseverance
you
oriented
get a
structure.
little bit of money and like something from it. I just come over here and jerk off and drink your brandy.
Jerk off at a college, drink my brandy.
I just
Look,
do this.
the money I spend on Yuri's brandy is way more than I make on the podcast. That's for sure. But
It's 100% true.
if you do it long enough, like if you're a Reddit reader, okay, if you're a Reddit reader, anybody who's on the front page of Reddit, they're making money. Okay, I mean anybody. So I was looking at Reddit. This is years ago, but there was a guy who drew cool designs on his kid's lunch bag. He drew Yoshis and shit on every day on his kid's lunch bag, and he had a blog. He had the blog for 4 fucking years. Nobody gave a fuck. Then all of a sudden, it was the front page of Reddit. That guy's making $1,000 a day. That's the internet.
So this is just your lottery ticket.
It kind of is. You know what I mean? I made necktie videos. I mean, that was how I got popular. That's why I gave a shit about internet at all. I made necktie videos. I made them for a long time. Nobody gave a fuck. One day, everybody gave a fuck. And then I started making $1,000 a month. Fucking for all of a sudden on necktie videos. It just happens one day. You know, people do ridiculous shit on the internet and it goes viral and that happens. Do it long enough.
My Twitter account, I started selling shirts, made a couple thousand off that. If I ever get back into it, I can probably make a lot more.
There you go.
Whoa.
Get on the fucking internet, Hart.
I'm not doing anything.
Yeah,
Get your shit together.
All right.
People love you. People love Eric Hart.
What do you? I don't
know what
they
you gotta
want.
do. Do a fucking
I have no
handstand.
idea.
Every day you do a fucking handstand, do a beer bong in your boxers every fucking morning.
That's
.youtube.com. And that's Eric Hart. And I bet you do it for a fucking year, you'll start making $1,000 a month.
That's weird. All right, I'll take suggestions on what I should do. I don't know why I'm
You're fucking up.
popular.
Why don't we take a break?
All right. We're back.
Zanella DeVille.
Something about pedal pubs.
Oh, get this. You might remember last time I was on, I ranted and railed about the fact that I had to go on a pedal pub because I hate them. That's what I did with my weekend the other day, 2 weeks ago.
Awful.
It's terrible. Well, last weekend, national news was made in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis, that's our neck of the woods.
Multiple pedal pubs were attacked by people on bikes with squirt guns and water balloons.
Water balloon, the pedal pubs.
Mad Max style. They were a roving assault. So I'll break it down for you. Here's what happened. Now, I just worry now, if any of our listeners were a member of this I Hate Pedal Pubs Facebook group that organized this.
You're a part of that group or no?
No, I'm not a part of this group.
Informally, you are.
But I a week after I ranted and raved, now I'm worried that
You started a whole fucking
complicit.
movement against pedal pubs.
So here's what goes down. A big brouhaha. So on the Facebook group, somebody posted, "Hey, let's basically raid some pedal pubs with squirt guns and water balloons or something. Let's all meet at so and so park tomorrow at 1, and we'll on bikes, and we'll go find pedal pubs and just basically squirt them with water, throw water balloons at them. It'll be great fun. We're immature. Let's do it." So they meet up. Okay, guys that are 19, 20, 21. I think about the ages of the people in the news report. One person was 42 years old. That was interesting.
Who did squirt gunning?
So they brought squirt guns, they brought water balloons, and they rode around on bikes. And they attacked
Whatever, make me a bicycle clown.
They ride around, find these pedal pubs. They find 2 of them, hit these people with the water balloons, hit a lady in the back of the head, squirt some people with the water, the squirt guns, super soakers, ride off.
They literally jerk off in a cup.
The third pedal pub they found was full of off-duty cops having a good time.
They had guns on them?
No guns.
I want to
they
see
were drinking.
Off-duty cops defend pedal pub, kill a bunch of bicyclist hippies.
And somebody took a cell phone video, because here's what happened. So these bikers attack these guys. Well, they jump off the pedal pub, and they start making citizens arrests, basically, because they're off-duty. They start grabbing people, nabbing these kids.
I don't think it's even a citizen's arrest. I think it's a legit arrest.
I think they were off-duty, so people were questioning whether they could, some people thought, well, was it a sting? Because by that time, cops had been informed.
Was it a
There were
sting?
cops. Well, there were cops. There were cops that were around Minneapolis cops. They were on the scene within a minute, I think, because they got a call, because this had happened throughout the day already. Well, anyway, there's a YouTube video of like these cops basically roughing these guys up on the ground, holding them down and stuff. Some people say it's roughing it up. Some other people just say they're pinning them down, waiting for the cops. Everything kind of went fine. There was no police brutality to be in this situation, but it was just the mere fact like these people are now charged with assault. The water gun people are charged with assault, making terroristic threats. There's a bunch of charges. They all got arrested. These guys all got arrested in the rain, and it made national news that this like Mad Max style squirt gun attack resulted in arrests because these off-duty cops magically, luckily were fortunately there to bust these guys. So,
Thank God we got cops.
Oh my gosh.
On pedal pub.
So it's this big thing where people, because there's so many people that hate pedal pubs, like me, that are on the internet, not like me, they're on the internet, ranting and raving, thinking that like, well, my gosh, it's too harsh. Like it's just water, it's just a little water. What are you worried about? And it's because they all are so annoyed about.
There's a lot of people that hate cops.
They're on there too. They thought that these cops.
What do you think, Art?
I think it's dumb. Dumb as a.
I think terroristic threats is fucking.
I think that's ridiculous.
Complete not.
That's
I mean, assault is pretty. It's all a stretch. I mean,
The assault's pretty legit.
is it assault to shoot a water gun at someone?
It is.
It's definitely by the definition of assault. Assault is the intent to, or like the creation of apprehension of harm or physical harm or contact, right? So they offensively touched other people through the water guns. That's assault.
And I just think of the old things. People used to go around like the one thing was like people would go around driving around with paintball guns, shooting people on benches. Now that's going to leave a welt and everything. Yeah. But it's the same type of prank. It's just it's immature and stupid.
If I throw a baseball at you, or if I spray you with water, it's the same idea. The harm is less, right?
Well,
but it's not. But it's not about the harm that results.
Well, is it punishment depend on the harm, or is it punishment depend on the crime?
That's the degrees, right? Like
okay.
or like assault with a deadly weapon. Like if it's a baseball bat, well, that's a deadly weapon. That's a certain degree of assault. But if I'm just assaulting you with water guns, well, there's no harm. Like the level of harm what the weapon involved isn't very serious.
Okay.
I'm sure it's probably like 5th degree, right? Like the most minor.
Right.
Yeah. So it won't probably. It's probably not even a felony or.
I don't like this terrorist nonsense.
It's probably like a misdemeanor.
Well, it might have been. It was probably something that like after the incident, they're swearing, "I'm going to kill you."
I'm sure it's just to fucking have them settle with some bullshit thing and throw more stuff at them and fuck with them.
Yeah, they like to tack on charges. That's one of my pet peeves.
Fuck that shit.
Anything that'll maybe stick.
I think it's
30 charges for one.
It's a fucking prank. Anybody who can't take a joke, get the fuck out of here. It's a water gun. Get the fuck.
I think it's. I think it's hilarious in the sense where because it's water guns. I think it's kind of silly and fun. I don't.
Well, it's not fun for them now. They got fucking assault and terrorist charges.
Well, nobody should go to jail for a year for this. Community service.
They won't. That's exactly what they're going to get. I mean, they're not going to go to jail.
I think it's a funny story. I'm glad the story happened, not like because I hate pedal pubs or anything, but just because it's like an entertaining story.
I fucking hate pedal pubs more now.
Like nobody's a winner in this.
Why do you hate? What do pedal pubs to do with this?
They don't have nothing.
I don't know.
What do you hate them for?
I don't know.
What have happened?
Gotta hate someone.
Gotta hate someone.
So I feel bad. I don't condone it. But
all right, Hart. You know what? You got some topics from last time. We didn't get to them.
Yeah.
Let's get to them this time.
Okay.
What do you want to talk about? Hart?
You can pick out of your two. Take a pick out of one because I want to cover mine because mine are topical.
You a video gamer? Are you a gamer, Yuri?
Yeah, you know I am.
Okay.
Let's
go games. Let's not go.
Games,
we won't go heavy. We'll go moderate. We'll go breaking news. You heard it here first.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Nobody else reporting on this. I read a lot of video game blogs. Nobody wants to touch this with a 10-foot pole. I think this is my opinion in their editorial departments because
Aren't you a little old for video games?
I haven't heard that one.
Go on.
Oh, Bloodsport. So here's the thing. I've been playing a lot of Counter-Strike lately. Been getting into that back in the
Counter-Strike.
That's an old for real.
I mean, it's old school.
It never ends. That one's always
timeless.
And I kind of got into it because I was playing other games, and it was kind of like a game I could do on a break. It only takes a few minutes to play, or under an hour to play some of these games. I could jump in. Now I'm playing it now I'm addicted, of course, like everybody is because it's one of the
untrue. I played it, hated that fucking game, never got addicted.
Okay.
Let me.
I'm immune.
Quick derail you here, but this always blows my mind. The idea of becoming stuck in time with a game. Because for me, games are always progressive. Like new games come out, new ideas, new experiences. But there are people who will always play Counter-Strike or Quake or fucking Street Fighter 2. They go to these tournaments. That's what they do. That's their lives. It's almost like you're stuck in time. And it's really weird to me, this concept of like you're done with video games. You don't even like video games. You're not a video game person. You're a Counter-Strike person.
I'll derail your derailment there.
My derailment.
For the first time in the last 7 years, I played Age of Empires 2 last night with like 5 different guys that are friends of mine that I play Counter-Strike with.
Yeah.
We all decided to go back and play this game that I first played when I was 15, 17 years ago, basically. And all of a sudden, these guys that I play with, they're actually younger. They're about 20 or something. They're young computer, the new age computer nerd kind of thing. But they're all like, let's play Ages 2, they call it. And I just said, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
I like that. I like the idea of like a throwback gaming night.
Yeah, it was like throwback. And to them, they're having fun with it. I'm like, this is great because everybody now wants to play Dota or Han or something. It's the real-time strategy is a different style that's popular. I was so happy because I haven't played it forever. I couldn't believe there's actually still people that aren't in a full career mode that don't say, that say, I don't have 2 hours to spend playing a stupid old game with you.
Yeah.
It was a great throwback.
What if I countered?
But I felt stuck in time too when I was playing.
Yeah, I'm going to counter derail your derailment. You're confirming Yuri's opinion that you are stuck in time playing that era of game.
I haven't played it in 7 years, but
I
love
now
it.
you
All
can't
came
get away
back
from
to me.
it because nobody plays it now. Now when people play it, you're all about the 7-year-old.
Well,
bullshit.
it got re-released in HD on Steam. That's part of the thing why I think it came
HD,
back.
Age of Empires.
Yeah, they redid some of the graphics.
Shit.
It's just a way to resell the game for.
That sounds kind of cool, man.
I love a nice HD remaster.
Yeah.
Well, no, in Counter-Strike's defense, Counter-Strike's constantly being updated.
You're right.
I mean, people would argue always that that's the best shooter, straight up.
Yeah.
It never stopped. I
There's
mean, they updated the
1.6,
graphics
there
and
was
the
Source.
engine.
CS:GO, the global offensive game has been out since like 2012 or something. So I mean, it's getting old now, but there is a newer version, and they keep updating. And that's I think what's kept it going is that they've got all these new aspects of the game that they keep kind of refreshing. You can get weapon skins now, which are different, like. So basically, this is how it works in CS:GO. Is like in other games.
They update it.
They update it. So, but you get drops like you do in a lot of games now. You get weapon cases that you can buy a key to open, and you get a random skin. And some are more common, some are more rare. Well, then what that does on the marketplace is it gives them a different value. So the rare skins, obviously, like a knife, which is really hard to get, could be they're usually worth at least $100 or more. Sometimes $200 or $300 on the Steam marketplace.
Wow.
And so there are weapon skins, like an AK-47 of a certain version, might be worth $50, and it might be a pretty stable price. Well, what that's opened up now is, since there's esports and there's pro gamers, and pro gaming's going on every day, there's now websites where you can bet your skins, because they have a value, you can bet your skins on which team's going to win. So it's like sports betting on esports.
But you're not betting money, you're betting skins.
But
you're betting skins.
But you earn the
But
skins.
they're worth money.
But they're worth money. You can trade them for
But you
monetary
earn
value.
those skins through gameplay.
You can earn the drops, which are the cases, which then you pay money to buy the key to open them. You don't just get.
No, you're fucking me up.
I'm so lost.
I'm absolutely.
All right, so you play to earn drops.
Right.
You get the drops, but you can only open them by paying to get.
Pay $250 for the key, so you don't have to or open the drops to try to get these.
That
rare
sounds like
skins.
the most manipulative
What the fuck?
bullshit fucking.
So wait,
This is how
mechanic.
Steam makes a lot of
No,
money.
wait, get the fuck. So if I have a drop, what do I do with it?
Wow.
Well, there's two types. There's really common. There's gun drops, like gun skins, like so like a camo.
How do I know that?
Like a camo skin. At the end of the game, it'll give a few people a drop.
So I can have a drop.
Yep.
So I have a gun drop.
So say you have a gun drop, like
Okay.
a camouflage pistol.
Okay.
Well, what happens is the gun drops that if you actually get a gun, they're so common that it's not going to be worth any money in the marketplace.
Well,
It'd be
fuck
worth
up.
9 cents.
Whatever.
What's worth money is when you get a case drop, a weapon case. So a weapon case contains a random weapon that you can find out what weapon you get if you pay $250 to open the case.
This conversation getting so sweaty.
This is like freemium gaming.
You know
Think
what?
about freemium.
No, this is totally different because let me tell you what the difference is here. This is like I come home every night and there's a beautiful Rolex watch sitting in a box.
Yep.
Or I know there's like some kind of jewelry in a box and it's there every night when I come home.
Yep.
But like in order to open the box and find out what's in there, I gotta pay money.
Yeah.
But the box is being like shoved in my fucking face. You know.
But
With freemium
look at
games,
it more
it's
like this. Look at it like you can pay a quarter to have a chance that the box unlocks.
Yeah.
And
Why even give you the box? Why don't they just make it like you pay to get the box and open it right away? That's the weird part. It's like it's just that extra step. Normally,
you can sell the box.
pay to get the box, right?
You can buy the box. You can buy and sell the market.
Wow, I see what you're saying. So if you don't wanna,
Open
it's
you
just
can
a way to
sell it.
make money.
Right.
That's really
It's a way for Steam to make money. But it's like gambling to open the box. Well, not only that, now you can gamble on the esports. Once you have valuable skins, say, because some people buy them just to play with them. You can buy them in the market just to play with a cool looking gun. Well, here's the thing. the regulations involved in this are almost non-existent.
Yeah,
there's a popular site, and basically in the terms it basically says you must be 18 years of age to use a site. But there's no verification process. There's no like show us your ID. There's no verify. You just go on there, and if they ever suspect something, which I don't know why they would, they ever suspect something, they'd ask you to provide identification.
This is through Steam?
Here's the thing is that Steam gives this an okay because they allow it to happen. Because what happens is
do they make a profit? They make a cut?
That's a great.
Steam makes money every time you buy an item.
They make money every time you buy an item. When you trade an item, they don't make any money.
They make no cut.
They make no cut.
Yeah, but you want to buy the items so you can trade them.
When you buy an item, they make it. When you sell or buy an item on the marketplace, you make a cut. But when you trade them to someone, it's like giving a gift. And so that's how these bets work. What you do is, if I'm going to bet on a certain team, I select which items from my inventory that I want to bet, and you get a value on them. And then there's odds kind of based on the marketplace. So what I do is I send mine to like a neutral bot, like basically an account on Steam that's run by the website.
An escrow.
Basically an escrow. And you send it to them, and then they accept it. So Steam has to approve all these bots because they need hundreds of them to work their little system. But what's really a problem here is that the fact that it's unregulated, and so a lot of these kids are playing the game 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, and some of these guns are worth $30, $40, $50, $80 that they can gamble. And what happens is you're creating basically addicted gamblers or gambling problems with kids that are underage. And this is in conversations I've had with people in game and friends that I've had, we've talked about it. They're playing a game. You know, one guy said some kid that was 15 was saying that he had to make a bet a day to feel alive, which is the most addicted gambler type of thing. And it's one thing, I can see it's one thing if we're all 18, 19. I remember when we used to go to Mystic, when we were of age, you run into the same thing. I remember gambling a lot. I'd run into the same cliches, the same problems. But the fact is that it's 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds that are, I don't know if they're borrowing their parents' money or how they're, I don't know how they get it. But the fact is that they're at such a young age and they're basically becoming addicted gamblers because of the growth of esports and the fact that you can gamble on it and there's no regulation. So I don't know if this is scandalous. I feel like the media would treat this is completely scandalous. I don't know how I feel about like letting kids gamble on it. I don't know because I'm such a gambler. We've all been gamblers, play poker, everything else. It's one of those where it's like, well, if I was 15, I'd want to be able to do it. But as an adult now, I'm looking and seeing some of the things these kids say and how much they're losing.
Well, I'm of the mindset that you don't create addictive gamblers, right? You have a gambling problem, and there are things like if you have a problem with addiction, and your addiction is gambling, right?
It's gonna happen.
You're gonna find an outlet for it,
right?
Whether that be fucking playing cards with your kids in your class, or online, or doing whatever. This is just another outlet. I don't think. This is definitely a system that promotes it. But no more than a fucking free-to-play game or, anything like that.
Playing poker with your friends.
If you're...
when I was 15, 16, I used to have people over my house all the time to play poker. You know what I mean?
Right. But I think if you have no outlet for it, it doesn't... There's been times in my life that I definitely could say that I've had...
Well, your question about the parents is valid. Like, where are they getting the money? If these kids are just have their parents' credit card and they're just spending all this fucking money gambling and making money, like where are they getting the money?
Well, and some are probably only betting a couple dollars maybe on a match, but the fact is there's a range of them. There's people that have lost $3,000 I lost $3,000 trying to play another version of gambling, which
where
is
they get $3,000 from?
Well, they either built it up or some trade. There's a lot of people that try to trade.
Then that's good for them. Then
good for them. But then they lose it on like a jackpot game where you try to actually win. You try to put in tons of your skins and then win like a majority back. It's like a lottery basically. I just question the age of it. I just wonder if it's in the fact that there's no one's really given a crap about monitoring it.
I guess you're bringing a certain point that it is basically gambling, but without the name, and therefore it's not being regulated the way a gambling would be. But I don't think it's creating gambling, or I don't know. I just think there's. It's just like when we were kids, we played Diablo 2, right?
Yeah.
Diablo 2 had items, and people would sell those fucking items on the internet, which is why Blizzard and Diablo 3 created the auction house, which fuck the game, but whatever. I get why they're thinking, but like there's always going to be an option for this. Like if they stole the system, then people would go on fucking Reddit. They go to the Reddit subreddit and they'd fucking trade that way through PayPal and shit. Like,
there's no problem here. There's no problem.
Well, here's what I think. I think access to it actually makes a big difference. If in the most extreme cases, there are people that will find a way to do the risky behavior. But I think there are a lot of people, like even like me, I've gone through phases where like, you know, been into sports betting and stuff like that. And there's been times in my life when it's like, it's just not feasible to even do it. And so it's not like I found another way to like go play poker or gamble with people. It's just that I can't do that right now. I'm saving money for this, saving money for that. It's not a thing. But there have been times where I've lost more than I should. I've spent a whole paycheck playing poker at Canterbury or something. Oh, throughout my whole 20s. I mean,
but you're 20, so it's your fucking problem. Well, who cares?
Right, but what I'm saying is that it's. The times I didn't have access to it and ease of access to it, it wasn't something that became like I didn't have an issue with it. But I did have the times that I did.
Is your point we should reduce access to it?
What I'm saying is that what Yuri's kind of saying is that like people will find a way to these kids will still be gamblers no matter what. But the fact is, I think if it wasn't available to them, I don't think they would be at risk. I don't think they would do it.
You're saying that Steam or the Counter Spy? What is it called?
Counter Strike.
Not even the game. Is exploiting this loophole in the system basically to make extra money off these kids. Is that kind of?
I don't think Steam is even making the extra money. I think they're making extra money, but I don't think it's their intent. I think it's this offshoot, the third party that's taking advantage of it, and everyone's turning. I feel like everyone's turning a blind eye.
I guess I don't see the problem.
Because it helps the growth of the sport because people are now watching matches they'd never watch. They're watching Goofball Team A versus Goofball Team B that they would never watch on a Twitch stream. Now they're watching it because they have stuff riding on the line.
I just think
it's good for the sport as an esport. It's good for the growth. That's why they're ignoring.
If a 13 to 18-year-old kid has the money to play this, then let him play it. And if he loses it, he's presumably losing the money he's earned playing it. And at that point, it's like, well, I don't care. You know, if I lose all my money, I'm homeless and fucked. If he loses all his money, he's fucking 18. He'll go to college or do something else. You know what I mean? Like he's fine. Maybe it's not building.
What if he's stealing from his
habits?
parents? What if he's stealing from his part-time job?
Then it's theft already.
I mean, that's obviously is on him. It's obviously on him. But I'm
it's
just
also
saying,
on his parents. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
if you're your parents and you don't fucking are noticing you're losing money and like money's disappearing, like your bank account's dipping weirdly, that's your problem as a parent. And then, like, at that point, you should say, well, I don't want my kid playing this game. Now, what I will say is maybe as a parent, I wouldn't assume this is a component of the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
If my kid's playing a first-person shooter, I'd be like, oh, cool. Is the game fun?
Well, once the kid starts asking for money to play the game.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got to be aware of that. But I think this is one it's on the parents. But it's kind of like the Sarah Evans argument I had. I don't want to get it done.
Yeah, that's fine.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's on the parents in this case. Like, the content being provided is not the issue here.
No.
Your mom told me a story once. Your mom told me. Tell me if it's true or false.
Okay.
Yuri's mom told me a story.
Yeah.
You stole money from your mom's purse.
Really?
One day. Yep. Because you wanted to bring it in to donate it to some fucking kind of charity your school was doing.
That sounds like something I might do.
Your school was doing some kind of collection charity.
Yeah.
And you went in your mom's purse and just took a bunch of money, $250.
Wow, that doesn't sound like me at all. I feel like I remember that.
So
I don't know.
How old was I? Did she tell you?
This is old. This is an old story.
My mom has a tendency to embellish.
Well, that's for sure.
I don't know. I can't imagine even as a kid ever taking that much money from my mom. I don't think I'd even do that, but I
just take a pile of money, whatever it was, didn't count it, just took a pile of money, brought it to school. I want the homeless to have it, whatever it was.
Maybe, but like I don't think it was probably like 40. Probably like 20.
That's what your mom told me the
if
story.
If it happened.
But Yuri was doing that shit.
Yeah.
So if you're stealing from your parents, then your parents need to stop you from stealing.
But here's the question. So
she doesn't even tell me that fucking story. I don't know that story. At least it was a noble cause.
In most states, you can't get into a casino unless you're 21. In Minnesota, it's 18.
Yeah.
Okay. Are those necessary? Are those laws? Should we let 15-year-olds to go to Mystic and play blackjack? Or I mean,
I don't give a fuck.
Like but I'm just saying those things are in place for a reason. And in the same sense, I don't see why this is different in having
I mean, personally, I think the gambling age is a bit like the 16, 18, 21 cutoff is very arbitrary. Like, if anything, like when you should be gambling is probably when you're younger. When like that money means less to you. Like when I was 16.
Interesting.
When I was 16, I was working a part-time job. Like that money was just
Cold Stone.
Yeah, Cold Stone. Fucking fun money I had.
Sure.
You know, I do whatever I want with it. Like I didn't have rent. I didn't have expenses. It was just stuff for fun.
Right.
Like at that point, maybe like gambling taught me a lesson. And I've always been a pretty good gambler.
Exactly right.
You know?
I agree with Yuri totally here. when you're a kid, you don't have any money, and the money you do have, it's your fucking money. Like, who cares if you're fucking 8 and you're gambling? Where the fuck's your money coming from? Are you taking it from your parents? Well, your parents should find out and fucking stop you from taking their money.
Yeah.
Like, the government's not like, I don't need the government to tell me when I can spend my money on gambling. If they want to say, well, 10-year-olds shouldn't gamble, who fucking cares? What do you give a fuck?
But here's where I'm looking at it is I feel like it's obvious that it's out there and obvious that it's happening, and I think that's just there's a blind eye being turned toward because it's good. It's something that has grown the sport itself. I think. Well, just like fantasy football has become intertwined.
The blind eye is not coming from the fucking sport though. I mean, what is that?
I
Maybe
think,
a little bit. I
because Steam has to allow this much trading. I mean, this is like.
And what you're saying is the casino would turn a blind eye to underage gambling.
No, you're saying that the sport is enabling underage gambling that they're aware of.
Right. And they're not doing enough to kind of to control. Like you look at NFL or anything else, they say they have like PSAs that talk about, you know what I mean?
Here's what I'll say: if you're
the NFL doesn't want anything to do with fantasy football, they try to for the most
if you have a really big hard on for underage gambling, like this is really your fucking like this is your
stock and store,
whatever, like whatever is your mission to like stop underage gambling. This would piss me off. Like this would be something I'm concerned about. But you're talking to two guys who don't think that's really an issue.
Right.
And especially in this minor, small context, you know what I mean? Like, it's such a niche field with a niche issue, and, like, there's so many... I mean, I think freemium games do more to building that dopamine loop that creates, like, a gambling addiction. Like, that has more of an issue, I think, than this. Well, I get what you're saying, but I just don't think there's a problem.
On this show, I just wanted to get ahead of everybody else because maybe in a year you might see it. It might be the big scandal.
Well, you heard it here first.
It might be on Kotaku or something. They'll say, "Oh my gosh, Steam's on this big scandal."
Eric Hart leading the charge. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go to my topics here because mine are more. They're current, not that they're more important, but they're topical and they're current.
You know what?
What?
Are these two at the bottom here?
Yes.
A cop killing in an animal situation?
Yeah.
Every time, man. Every time.
You
bring me down. I leave here, I'm so fucking depressed. There's always a fucking cop one. There's always an animal one. There's
not always an animal.
I just want to talk about video games. I want to talk about good movies. I want to talk about jerking off in a cop. And Krasny's here bringing the heat on me. Fucking, I'm so down. I'm so down. Bring me up, baby. Give me your topics.
I'm not bringing you up.
Bring me up with the picks. The picks better bring me up.
The picks? We're not going to picks.
I know, not now. I'm just saying later.
Well, later we'll bring you up.
Give me your topical heat.
Okay. Topical heat.
Sounds like a dry rub to put on like some...
Topical heat A.
Yeah.
Is, so there was a story which you could read on
you got a back injury, put some topical heat on it. You
can visit the AVDP's podcast 41 on the website. Check out this whole story. So here's the story, the summary of the story. Not much controversy here, but so a girlfriend calls the police and her boyfriend who's suicidal. According to the story I read, he has been off drinking for a long time. Then he lost his job. He started drinking. He's got a knife.
Wait, is he off the wagon or on the wagon? Which one is it?
He would be on the wagon.
If you stop drinking.
You're on the wagon when you stop drinking.
Yeah.
You fall off the wagon when you start again.
Got it.
So he falls off the wagon, starts drinking again. He's got a knife. He's like, I'm going to kill myself. I hate life. I hate everything.
Sure. Cry for help.
His girlfriend calls the police to, take him into the fucking hospital where they take suicidal people to keep them under watch.
Right.
2 cops come with assault rifles.
Oh.
And in her interview, she goes, why would they have assault rifles? Great question.
Yeah.
They tell her to wait outside. She complies.
Is this like a laser shooting knife? Like, what the hell? Like, I don't understand that.
What?
Like, what? Assault rifle for a knife? Like, she said knife, right? I can see if they say gun.
He has a knife.
They want to bring a bigger gun.
You're right.
But, like, he's got a knife. Like, what kind of knife is this?
What the fuck? You know what? He's got a
knife?
fucking knife. So,
God.
ends up, he's dead. He gets shot by these cops.
Does he rush him?
They allege that he attacked them. But the story I read says that upon investigation, there's no blood on the walls. As in, if he was standing up and they shot him, there'd be blood on the walls.
Oh, okay.
The blood was all in the mattress. The bullets were in the mattress. As if he was laying on the mattress on his bed when they shot him. He didn't get up to attack him because if he was up and they shot him, there'd be blood over the walls, right? That's what the story says. All I'm saying is, if you get a call about a suicidal guy who's laying in his boxers drunk with a knife, the last thing you want to do is shoot that guy. He's drunk. He's obviously fucking in a bad spot.
Right.
You're two armed fucking body armor wearing fucking cops. For some reason you have assault rifles. Whatever. Whether they're pistols or assault rifles, you can shoot them just the same. I'm not like harping on that. Although it's weird they brought assault rifles to a suicide in negotiation. Why don't you bring a psychiatrist? Why don't you bring the fucking negotiator? Why would you bring two guys with assault rifles like you're gonna fucking have a shootout? Why would you come with that mentality?
I just don't get. Don't they have tasers? Like, don't they? Like, the one thing they always have. They always have flashbangs to disorient people. Like,
great fucking question. Great fucking question. In the article I read, which is available on the on the website, the investigator said the reason they did not bring a taser is because in close quarters, a taser often isn't effective because if they're so close together, tasing a guy is often not enough like stopping power to keep them from affecting the police. So you gotta bring the fucking assault rifles. Why don't you bring the fucking flamethrowers next time?
You know what is interesting to me?
Bring the whole fucking house down.
Here's what's interesting.
What's interesting?
Who's the most effective authority force right now in America? Who's the most efficient and effective?
Is this a trick question?
It's a trick question.
The Marines?
The cops? I don't know.
The bouncers at your local bar.
Eric Hart, former bouncer, speaking.
Oh, okay.
Unarmed, right? No taser, none of this shit. And they're always fucking... they always somehow manage to throw people out of the bar who are unruly, who want to start fights, who are maybe even bigger than them, who might punch them in the face, which apparently police will kill you over.
If you want to hear some great bouncer stories, you gotta get my boy Kuba.
Talk about heroic actions in the face of danger. According to what police say is dangerous to police.
You're going on a thing that...
I'm going on a thing.
That's fine.
I'm just wondering why police are so terrible and so unable.
Let me introduce your thing.
They're different situations.
Eric Hart's got a thing.
I get there's different situations, but why don't we throw a parade for bouncers who risk their lives apparently every day?
Let me introduce your thing.
With drunk people.
Let me introduce your thing.
That might be
Hart's got a thing. And his thing is that police want to be heroes. Because they put their lives on the line. Okay, this is what you're saying. This is your... I've gotten this vibe from you several times. Okay. The police are heroes because they put their lives on the line. But he would say that if all you do is shoot first, you're not ever putting your life on the line. Mm-hmm. You're playing it safe by killing everybody all the time.
There's two sides going on right now. There's the public, which says there's this kind of this... like, you know, same with maybe the military, but it's a different tangent. But it's kind of like we need to support the police. They're heroes. They're heroic. And a lot of it is not... It's unearned in today's age because people are so sensitive about it. So the fact that it's like, if they just have a badge on, well, then they're a hero. They put their life on the line and all that stuff. Yet, the arguments that are coming as excuses from the police department is our officers need to get home safe. That's why they're shooting so much. That's why they're so quick to use force, because we want to get them home safe. And it's like, well, you can't have both. You can't be being praised for doing more than the average person would do and putting actual life on the line, but then also never really putting yourself in a dangerous position.
Well, I'm going to disagree with that a lot.
Okay.
For one, not like if you take the number of cops that exist and the number of cops that shoot first and shoot a lot, maybe 1%.
Fair.
There's thousands of cops out there who just do their job and they do it very well and they deal with a lot of bullshit. Like, those people are still, to some extent, heroes. And maybe not heroes, maybe that's too strong a word, but, like, I read a really interesting...
I'm all for if some cop does something heroic, gets in a shootout and takes out thugs, amazing. I'd be scared out of my mind. I get it.
Where that cop was being charged by a guy who was, a murder suspect, thought to have a weapon, being charged by him, and he didn't fire, he just kept on and put his gun down. Did you watch that episode?
I don't think I got that.
We had an episode of that. That guy was amazing. We talked about that.
Well, that's all I ask. Is I assume that cops are able to use some sort of discernment.
And there should definitely be, a proper amount of training. There should be cameras. There should be all this kind of stuff that we talk about all the time. But I don't think it's fair to shit on all other cops.
Well, it's not so much shitting on the cops.
Yeah, but I also don't think
it's mostly shitting on the public that wants to play this game of like, we need to defer to the police when it's a sense of, well, why can't we just? Why isn't it okay just to wait until someone earns the?
I think that goodwill is gone. I think there used to be a goodwill with cops, and that goodwill has been eroded to the point where it doesn't really exist.
I think you're right.
And And it definitely used to be like that. Cops used to be heroes, especially like right after 9/11. Cops, firefighters, everybody was a hero.
I think it's split now. I think you have two camps. I think you have the camps that are no matter what.
You're right.
Back to police, you know.
I think that the cops. One of the most interesting Reddit like Ask Me Anythings I ever saw was about with a cop, and somebody asked him the kind of joking question, "Why are so many cops overweight?" And he gave a very serious answer about like, "Well, here's what my day is like. Here's what my job is like."
Yeah.
And it was all about like
paperwork and
it's like, I sit in my car, I do crazy long hours.
Yeah.
I very rarely see my family. I deal with a lot of like physical people who beat me up. I got joint problems and knee problems and back problems. Like it's a very difficult job. And so I don't think the heroism necessarily comes in crazy standoff shootouts.
Right.
The heroism comes in you're doing a sacrifice day after day. Being in constantly a situation where any situation is a risk. You know, anybody I pull over could pull a gun out and shoot me.
Right.
That happened here in Minnesota not that long ago. You know, like
last year.
Yeah, like that is where the heroism comes in, not from like these moments and these incredible things that happen. It's from just the difficult job for low pay and for not a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Credit. Like you're getting shit on a lot.
Sure, but I think I don't remember what other positions, but there's other like actually pretty average jobs that have a higher risk of death than it is being a police officer. Police officer is relatively safe in the industry when people think it's
coal miners. Are coal miners heroes? Coal mining has the highest risk of death.
Right. I mean,
Are they heroes?
That's what. I don't know if I call them heroes, but I think they deserve at least recognition.
Well, if risk of death is your like ratio for like heroism, lawyers have one of the highest rates of suicides in the nation. Are they heroes because there's a risk of death and suicide?
Suicide.
It's still a risk of death.
Is that a fact? Is that real shit though?
But
yes,
that's not
lawyers.
Yuri,
yeah.
The podcast will suffer if you kill yourself.
Lawyers have one of the highest, top 3 rates of suicides, depression, and addiction.
And make sure your girlfriend doesn't call the police if you are suicidal.
Yeah,
they'll shoot you.
The addiction problems in the legal career among lawyers is
For sure.
absurdly high. It's crazy, and it's so overlooked, and so like it's becoming more prevalent. But like it is nuts. Like lawyers have the highest rate of addiction of any career. Top 3 at least.
Yuri, I'm watching you.
Yeah.
But basically what I want is people to be reasonable.
I'm smooth, baby. I'm good.
I just want people to be more reasonable, and it's not black and white. It's not either, you have to be 100% cop or 0% cop. It's just, how about we just take every situation,
Hey, how about my fucking solution? Which is my fucking point of this whole topic. All cops wear fucking cameras.
I get what you're saying. Eric Hart. You used to deliver pizzas, right?
Right.
Every time you deliver a pizza, you're on the street.
Yeah.
You could get in a car accident at any moment.
car accident.
Putting your life at risk.
Robbed.
Bit of a hero.
Or commonly robbed. Yeah, and I think I've seen,
I get what you're saying. Just
out late at night, drunk drivers. There's all kinds, but I don't think about it, and I'm sure a lot of cops don't think about it either. It's not the cops that are saying we need to be heroes.
I think your complaint is that people are putting the police on a pedestal. They're putting the pussy on a pedestal.
Correct.
With police.
Correct.
And you just want some other people to get that pedestal.
I just want the pedestal to be earned instead of, because it's creating.
Well,
I think it creates a bigger problem when these debates come up, because then people entrench themselves because they think I can't criticize. So I think it's people say I can't criticize the cops.
To me, that's a bit of an old school mindset. I don't think that mindset exists at all.
I think it's common.
You know what? I think you're both fucking wrong. And all we need to do is have a camera on every fucking officer who we stop fucking guessing. How about that for a fucking answer? How about when these guys come and go, oh, this suicidal fucking drunk with a knife, he charged us. Fucking prove it.
You're missing the argument here.
Am I?
Yeah. Hart's not saying that there's not problems with cops. Mm-hmm. Hart's saying that other, cops are just another job that deserves some credit, but not as much credit as they get. Whereas other jobs also deserve credit for the risks they take.
I don't give a fuck about other jobs.
I know, that's why you're not listening to the argument at all.
I think the PR that has come into play is that cops need to get home safe. We need to protect these cops because they risk their lives, so we need to do everything to protect them. And that's led to the cops being able to have this take proactive action. And that's why maybe when a guy's got a knife, that's why they're quicker to pull a trigger in some of these situations. I think I'm taking crazy pills. I think that's what's erupted in the culture. I don't think that was the same way years ago. I think they've built up such a PR goodwill that we need to keep cops safe, and it's so important that it's become more important than keeping public safe.
Raise your hand if you think cops should all have cameras.
Yeah, I get it. They should have.
Raise your fucking hand then. Raise your hand. We all raise our hand. I'll kiss you in the fucking lips. I kissed him on the lips about that.
Save you from
You just made a lot of listeners.
Yeah,
a lot of
look,
listeners jealous.
In this fucking situation, straight up, the cops say he charged us, we shot him. The girlfriend says he would never charge cops. What are we gonna do? How about all cops with fucking cameras? If this motherfucker is like, I want to use my assault rifle because it's fun, I'm gonna shoot this guy, you're fucking fired then, obviously, and you're fucking prosecuted.
So here's the thing: the only that version of the situation, that's when it would work. The problem is,
What's the problem?
If every time I interact with a cop, I'm on camera. Why do I want that? Why do I want to be on camera all the time?
What do I give a fuck what you want?
That's a ridiculous problem.
What is this?
There's big privacy questions.
Well, yeah, if they're putting it on fucking YouTube, but if they're just using it as backup,
Yeah, what fucking
you're-
privacy?
Is it not public if you if you request? That's what the guy's been doing in Seattle. He was requesting all their body cam videos, and they had to go through and blur everybody's faces and do all that shit.
I would look. The problem you're
You know how
complaining-
expensive that is?
The problem you're
I
complaining
don't give a
about,
fuck how expensive it is.
The problem you're complaining
Okay.
about is so minor compared to the problem of like I mean, you could say it the other way around.
Okay.
Like when people
Wait till-
film,
wait till Krasny gets
when
his
people,
tax
when
bill
people
and then-
film when people film cops,
Yeah.
they're saying, well, nobody's saying, oh, the cops' privacy is being invaded. They're saying, well, cops need to be prevalent. Well, it goes both ways. You can't fucking film a cop, but not have the cops film you.
Well, okay, look, great question. You're saying my tax money, I'm going to bitch about it. You're right.
It's going to become really blowy.
You're
is
right.
that true?
I'm the
You can
fucking
request
guy.
that video.
Yeah, it was on Ars Technica. There was a story of that when they first were putting their body cam program, this guy wanted to do some data collection, so he was requesting them all.
So, I'm the fucking asshole. I'm the guy. Oh, fuck you. Give me the fucking footage. Look, right now, what?
Our time.
It's fine. We're fine. Now, in Baltimore right now, they're saying taxpayers got to pay for the fucking damage and the riots, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
$20 million.
Wow.
That's probably going to happen. Okay? Taxpayers have to pay $20 million. Like, okay, not a big fucking deal, right? $20 million. Big fucking, no big deal. That's not a lot of money for the fucking, the government. You know what I mean? So if they're going to, like, how much money does it take to review footage? You know? $1 million? $1 million?
I think that's a worthwhile cost, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I don't disagree.
That's what
just
I'm saying.
I'm just saying there's more than just strap cameras on them and let them loose.
My
It'll be
argument
fine.
in this case is, okay, what are the Baltimore riots about? This Gray guy? Gray?
I don't know.
Freddie
Gray?
Oh, Freddie?
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm taking your word for it. I don't actually know.
Yeah.
Freddie Gray. So, he was killed.
Tommy Carcetti.
Close personal friend of mine.
Stop. Shut the fuck up.
Here's the thing.
Shut the fuck up. This one guy was killed, Freddie Gray, right?
Yeah.
He was killed. We don't know why. We don't know whether or not he was aggressive. We're taking the cop's word for it. Blah blah blah. We're jerking off in a cup, right? Don't even play it. Don't even fucking play it.
His neck broke.
If all the cops had chest cameras on, then we would know what the fuck happened to him, right?
Not necessarily.
What the fuck do you mean not necessarily? Explain yourself now.
Well,
Because
if
one
the,
of the-
if
No,
the
no, no.
cop cover the camera up. Go ahead.
Tell me about it.
Because one of the possibilities about when he died is, and this was admitted to by the head of the police union earlier.
Oh, is it the head of the... Tell me about it.
Well, you know, they never criticize their own people. But he said there was a possibility that he was given a rough ride. So he was in this police transport van. Because here's the thing. The arresting officers say...
Stop what you're saying. If they all had fucking chest cams on, would we know for a fact whether or not he had a rough ride?
Probably not if he's in the back. No cops sitting in the back of the van.
What the fuck? If you're
You can't say if he was not...
What the...
They're saying he wasn't putting a seatbelt. And so that he was...
If you got the fucking driver's cam on, and the driver's like, oh, I'm gonna take this right turn, I'm gonna get this left... If the fucking driver is going crazy, like I'm playing Grand Theft Auto...
Okay, the lawyer here.
What do you want?
How are you able to say what happened to the passenger in the back if a guy takes a corner at a certain speed? Are you able to say, well, that caused him to break his neck in the back?
Hey, here I am, driving the car! Is this a problem?
But they wouldn't be able to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt that caused his neck injury, would they?
You don't have to prove that if the charge is murder.
You don't have to prove.
Well, what are you charging with?
Well, he's just saying that if you see the cop driving a little squirrely, that you could prove that the guy in the back who wasn't buckled in, that's when he hit his head, and not when he was arrested and roughed up.
I have an objection. The cop who's buckling him in would have a chest cam on, does he not? Do you buckle him in or not, Officer fucking Stevens?
I mean, you gotta...
Did you buckle him in or not, Officer Stevens?
I mean, causation...
Just devil's advocate.
Causation is definitely one of the elements involved in proving something like this.
Devil's advocate is fine, but Officer Stevens, you're wearing a chest cam. Did you or did you not buckle him in? Or did you cover up your chest cam with your hand and then not buckle him in? Because if you covered up your chest cam, guess what? You're fucking fined $10,000. Am I wrong?
10,000 for now.
I don't give a fuck what the fine is.
Okay.
Yeah, $10,000.
Interesting.
Leave your don't cover your chest cam with your hand, Officer Stevens. It's the first rule of fucking going to the police academy. What's the problem? What's the problem, Hart?
Officer Stevens, are you talking back to me?
Shut your mouth when you're
I mean,
Well, here's the thing. Here's the
how am
great
I
thing.
wrong here?
Here's the great thing about this is that there's pilot programs. Even in, I think, Minnesota, they've got Minneapolis cops have some of them have cameras on them.
Yeah.
They're testing this all out right now. We're going to find out in probably under a year whether how well these things do and what the drawbacks are and what the possibilities are.
You better fucking hope that they work.
I can see why Yuri took a new job.
We're just gonna go to picks. I got more stories. We're gonna skip them. We're gonna go to picks because I'm too fucking riled up.
Too riled up.
I'm too riled up. Eric Hart told me, look, Alex, you're too riled up. You gotta stop. He told me that just now. So I can't even go to my next topic because I'm too riled up.
You'll get even more riled up for sure.
So we're gonna go straight to picks. And I'm glad I'm riled up because the pick I have is Kung Fury. Have you heard of Kung Fury? Yuri hasn't even heard of it.
I hadn't heard about
and
it.
And he calls himself an internet kind of guy.
Oh, wait. Pause to let the music kick in. All right, go.
What's the music?
The tobacco. The pick of the week music.
We already did that like 4 fucking seconds ago.
Oh, fuck, I didn't know. I wanted to give a pause. Make sure
We
you
already had the music in.
All right.
Anyway,
Do it again.
Yuri doesn't even know what Kung Fury is, this fucking guy. He's been too busy getting a job, I guess. He's not even keeping up with the internet. If you don't know what Kung Fury is, get the fuck out of
Let me
here.
tell you what the internet is. The internet is a place to waste time when you're not doing better things. When I'm home now, I got shows to watch, I got vids to play. I'm not wasting time on the internet. I don't got time for the internet, baby. Internet's a time waster.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'll tell you one thing about
Yeah.
the internet. The internet made Kung Fury.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what Kung Fury is at all, Kung Fury is this one homeboy who's like, I'm going to make a fucking movie that's better than any movie ever made. And all I need is a Kickstarter to do it.
Now I show you something.
That's goddamn right, a trick or two. So he made, what did he make, Hart? $700,000?
Yeah, about 600,000.
$600,000 he made because his trailer was so fucking good. The trailer is linked, okay? The movie is 30 minutes long. It's linked in my fucking website. It's free.
Right.
It's free to watch. If you like 80s, if you like action, if you like kung fu,
80s.
this is the best fucking movie ever. Like, it's so amazing. I love it so fucking much. It's free to watch, guys. Kung Fury. That's my pick of the week. Watch the fucking bitch, man.
So I walk out of the room for 1 second and you take my pick. Is that what happened?
That's my fucking pick
I've
already.
been waiting for this movie to come out for about
How many years?
A year, at least a year. At least a year since I saw the Kickstarter. After
Now,
it was already over.
I will.
When did I tell you about Kung Fury?
You told me about Kung Fury a long time ago.
Wait. He told you about Kung Fury?
He told me about it.
It's Hart's pick.
It's,
my
you
pick.
know what? I will secede my pick. Eric Hart's pick. He was more into it. I never donated to it. Did you donate to it?
It was closed by the time I saw it.
Well,
You
I
didn't
missed it
fucking
by a
donate to it
month.
then?
well, now
missed
we
it by
got a
a
real
month.
debate.
Wow, excuse me, sir. You didn't fucking donate to it?
How many times did you watch the trailer?
Then what fucking claim do you have?
I watched the trailer at least 15 times.
What fucking... I
be
watched the
fair,
movie 3 times.
Would you have known about it if Eric Hart hadn't told you? Is the
I
question.
absolutely would have. I'm an internet fucking guy. Absolutely, it was a front page of Reddit for the fucking 2 days lately.
He's got you there.
Lately, you just found out about this 2 days
yeah,
ago.
the late 2 days. What the fuck do I guess suck your dick now? Because you fucking heard of it first.
Oh, hey.
You guys aren't gonna start sucking each other's dicks.
Hey, that's what he would fucking like. I bet. When we suck your dick.
So here's the thing about Kung Fury the movie.
What's the thing, Hart?
So it
Here's the
was
thing.
all the rave at Cannes last week.
Wait, Cannes? Really?
Cannes Film Festival. It was played as
Stop.
a short film. It
Stop.
was there. It got rave reviews.
Cannes.
Made it to Cannes.
Cannes.
Made it to Cannes.
He's true.
But they were also, what they were doing at Cannes was they were actually shopping a full-length script. They were looking for investment to actually create the full-length version of it. So they're even still trying to get a feature-length film out of this little tidbit. But it's definitely, I like the movie. I think I like the trailer more. But I'm very happy that the movie finally made it here. I think it's great. I think it's awesome that this guy was able to do what he wanted to do with this project. That's why I love Kickstarter. That's why I love independent film. That's why I love people dicking around, trying to make movies, trying to do whatever. I think it's a lot of fun. I think we've really missed out on what the great era of B movies was in the 80s and 90s when we had all kinds of bullshit, so bad that they're good sometimes just guilty pleasure. Van
Love that shit.
Damme
All the Van
movies,
Damme movies, the Stallone
Steven
movies.
Seagal. They used to even put him on TNT. Cynthia Rothrock.
What do you
that
mean
was
we
a huge-
missed out on them?
I think we missed out because they don't make
We
B
weren't a
movies
lot-
anymore.
we weren't a-
They don't make those classic fucking bad, just terrible movies. Who's giving money to this?
Who missed out on them?
Sharknado would beg to differ.
The last 10 years. I think we were lucky because we're older. I think the new
Sharknado
Sharknado
would
was
beg to
like
differ.
yeah, Sharknado's a newer one. But I think for a while there, we don't get any more.
You know Steven Seagal just came out with a new movie?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
He gained a lot of weight.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
He's been gaining weight for a long time.
He's been hanging out with Kim Jong-un. Wait, no. He's hanging out with Putin. He's best friends with Putin.
Oh yeah, he's Putin. He's a Putin.
Yeah, Putin loves Seagal.
Yeah, I told you about that.
Putin guy.
Rodman's friends with Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
But that era,
this Kung Fury looks awesome.
It's good,
If you like Kung Fury, if you watch the trailer or the move,
and it's only 30 minutes. I'm surprised they fit so much.
this is
into
one of
that.
my picks like months ago, like when we started the podcast. FarCry Blood Dragon DLC for Xbox 360.
You
and
promised to
PS3.
give me $5 to buy it.
I'm gonna give it to you.
It's on Steam. It's on Steam as well.
It's on all that. Yeah, it's on all that shit. It's just pure fucking 80s nostalgia.
$5.
If you don't buy it, if you don't buy it, I watch you play it. I'll
That's
never speak to
That's
you.
a sign of money right there.
Yeah.
That's your
That's
give
me
me
giving you
$5,
money.
baby.
I could have given it to a homeless person. I gave it to you instead of buy a video.
You know what? Me playing Blood Dragon might be better for the world.
You're gonna download it tonight while I'm here. You're gonna buy it.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah. All right. Are we done with Kung Fury?
Sure.
Let me go backwards a little bit here. I forgot something about my week. I went to a concert. I went to a music festival.
Somerset.
Soundset.
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 Did you see Watsky?
I did.
Luda.
Love Watsky.
He's from
California.
no, but he does. I think he's Dr. Seuss in history, rap battles in history,
Really?
or he's Shakespeare. I forget which one he is.
Oh, I don't know.
Shakespeare.
I haven't
But he's
thought.
dope. He's great. Watsky's great. So it's a hip hop festival in Minnesota. All right. Now, the weirdest hip hop festival crowd you've ever seen because it's 90% white people. Not what you expect. But the artists are great. Let me tell you who was there: Watsky, Aesop Rock, Logic, Big Sean, J. Cole, Dessa. Now, the best Yellow Wolf, best artist who was there though. Oh, Brother Ali, Atmosphere, Ludacris.
Ludacris made it?
Ludacris blew me fucking away. I've never been so turned and just having a fucking great time at a concert as Ludacris. Let me tell you
Ludacris
why.
is the guy from Fast and the Furious.
He
right?
is. Let me tell you why. Every time you go to a concert, usually, who's like an artist who's a little more established and has like a new album out, what do? They play music from their new album. They ignore their hits. They don't play what you want to hear. Ludacris didn't play. Ludacris just had an album come out like a couple months ago. Didn't play a single fucking song from his new album. He only played his hits. Every fucking hit song Ludacris has ever had, he played.
Bitch, get out the
Played
way.
that.
Saturday.
Stand Up. He played
Southern Hospitality.
What's Your Fantasy? He played fucking Blueberry Yum Yum.
that's a
Just every fucking classic song Ludacris has,
Nice.
he played it. He got the crowd so jacked up. I've never been so jacked. He was awesome. He killed it. Sounded great. Loved him. My pick of the week is Ludacris.
I want people to know
Yeah.
that Aesop Rock is actually, he collaborated once with Tobacco,
Really?
who is the music we play for picks. That song
Yeah.
you hear for picks.
Aesop Rock is awesome.
That
Aesop
is
Rock's good.
Tobacco, and he has one song with Aesop Rock, which is a fucking awesome song,
He spits hot fire.
called Grape Aerosmith, which makes no sense, but it's with Aesop
Just
Rock.
pick
You
pick those words
you know
out of the
Watsky
hat.
though.
I'm
a
maybe.
Watsky guy.
You've seen the rap battle in history, Shakespeare versus Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
He's one of them. I don't remember. I even sent you a link one time. I found this artist the other day, and he's this guy. You go, how the fuck do you find him? It's on Facebook. There's proof. I can find proof.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So the Soundset was awesome. It was just a fun thing. I want to talk about my week, and I really loved it. Atmosphere was really great. They were all great.
No, it like rained most of the day. Light rain.
it rained the
most of
whole fucking day.
No, I
I
think,
was so
in my
wet. I had a
opinion,
poncho on.
I hate music festivals
Yeah.
because it's usually 80 degrees.
It always rains.
Everyone's smushed together and hot and sweaty, and you're drunk. It's just being warm and drunk is not good, right?
Can I
Warm
tell you?
beer.
I loved it.
Wasn't it great? If
I
it
loved
let
the
it
rain. I loved it.
Keeps everybody cool.
It made it really fun and kind of like crazy. It felt very like the way you imagine Woodstock to be in your head. Very cool. Like tons of people like we're doing fun stuff.
A little less
Also,
mud.
Yeah, a little less mud, but like it was fun. Like I kept light. I never got hot. The poncho was fun. Yeah, I got soaked, but like I didn't give a fuck. I was into it. It just made it really fun.
Did it smell like Otto?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it had a really. Like, it didn't smell bad by any means. It just smelled like I smelled a lot of weed.
That's what I mean. It smells like Otto.
Oh, I think you said autumn.
Otto. No,
Yeah.
it's a Simpsons thing.
OTTO.
OTTO.
Yeah.
When they go to the music festival,
Yep.
it smells like auto.
Out of the bus driver. Yeah. Let me tell you one other thing about this festival that you forget. It's like the state fair, you know? Like there's tons of great food, like fried foods.
Food trucks? Did they have food trucks?
Yeah, they have a bunch of that shit. It's great.
Canterbury loves
So
it.
anyway, that's my own pick. My next two picks.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody have any more picks you want to go before I go?
I got picks, but you can go ahead and
All
do
right.
your picks.
I played a PS4 game, Infamous Second Son. Love the game. Really fun. Open world kind of powers game where you got like, you know, powers and you're jumping around and moving around and all this crazy shit you're doing.
Grand Theft Auto?
Uh,
Real-time simulation? Like what?
Grand Theft Auto type, right? Like that open
Okay.
world kind of third person view. But like, so the plot is basically like
Fallout New Vegas?
No.
Grand Theft Auto, okay.
think more Grand Theft Auto, but like that. Or like, have you ever played Saints Row?
Yep.
Like Saints Row,
Okay.
very like fun and crazy like that. But basically, the plot is like there's these people in this world called conduits, and they have these powers where they can like manipulate a entity, like a not an entity, but like for example, like light or concrete or fire or like radio waves or something like that. Do you get the kind of
Last
idea?
Airbender? Or is it?
Yeah, they're like superpowers, basically like a thing, but more not just elements, but like more expanded.
Okay.
But in this world, they're labeled as bioterrorists, so they're controlled and like hunted and arrested.
Oh.
And this guy, Delson Rowe, who is a part of a Native American group, accidentally gets these powers, realizes he's a conduit, and his tribe is attacked by like this government thing called the DUP, that was some organization.
What is your role? What's your job?
So you're Delson, and so
Okay.
your tribe is hurt by this conduit, by the person. And then you want to go to Seattle. It all takes place in Seattle. And you want to go and you want to get her power because you can find out that you can take powers. And you want to get the power of the lady who hurt you and stop the DUP from terrorizing all these people and hurting the conduits. Because they're not all terrorists. Like a lot of them are just normal people. It's kind of like very X-Men-y where the mutants
they're
are like
mutants,
hunted and persecuted. So you're in Seattle and you're like kind of on this thing. But the game is very well paced. I bought it for like $15 used. Like, great deal, right? I just said, fuck it. A lot of fun. Very beautiful. The lighting effects are great. It's all sick. Got a good pacing. Like, you get one power. You go through the missions. I beat the game, and I fucking never beat games. And I didn't even notice I was beating it. You know what I mean? I was just kind of playing it, and all of a sudden, next thing I'm like, oh shit, it's the end. Fun.
Sure.
Also, it uses the PS4 controller very cool. So the PS4 controller has a lot of fun effects. One, you know, it's got an axis control like an accelerometer. You guys look so serious right now. I love it. He's a graffiti artist. So you tag billboards and you spray stuff, right?
Okay.
So one thing you do is you turn the controller upside down, like sideways.
Vertical.
Vertical.
Okay.
Hold it like you would like a can.
Sure.
And you use a trigger to like spray. It's got motion sensor.
Oh, cool.
So you're actually spraying graffiti like on billboards and it feels it. So that's like a cool effect. The middle button, like the middle pad in the middle, is like a touch pad. It's like a motion, you know, whatever. It's like you have to swipe up to like open doors, like little things like that. It just uses the technology in a very cool way. But it's very fun. I had a really great time. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Eric Hart, New York
Yeah.
Times. Can I gamble on this game? Can I bet things?
Not enough gambling, although if you want, you could watch me play it and gamble at what I'm going to do next.
Ah.
Yeah, you can gamble on anything.
Twitch? Are you on Twitch?
I should be.
You
I
should be on Twitch.
I should stream more because you can stream through the PS4.
Yep.
Pro tip: you can gamble on anything. I've got nipples, Greg. Can you gamble on me? Know that reference?
Oh God, somewhere.
Meet the Fockers.
Meet the parents. But
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
My last pick is an iPhone game, free. It's called Ball King.
Only iPhone? iPhone only?
Only iPhone. It's very it's classic. Well, maybe it's on Android.
I'm out.
I didn't mean that. Maybe it's on Android. I actually don't know. But it's the most simplistic game ever. But it's basically just you're a little guy with an afro. You're shooting hoops and you just touch to like set. Think of like you know Worms, the old game Worms, or like the game where you like your tanks and you shoot. You know where you set the power and the arc of the meter, but you're using touch controls. And you're just trying to get the ball in the hoop. And you get coins and you get prizes you play and you unlock different types of balls. But it's very addictive, so you try to set high scores, like Flappy Bird.
So it's a basketball game.
Yeah,
Basketball
it's
shooting game. Okay.
Yeah, I'll show it to you guys after this. But I was playing for a little bit. But then last night, my internet cut out, right? Mm-hmm. And me and Chloe, my girlfriend Chloe, were in bed, and I started playing it. And she looks at me and goes, "What are you playing?" And I show her, and she goes, "I want to play." Next thing you know, an hour later, we're trying to beat each other's high scores. We're addicted. She's hooked. I'm hooked. We're both trying to just fucking keep topping our scores. We're unlocking new cute, cool little balls like snowballs and little turkey legs that I'm shooting into basketball hoops and stuff.
So it reinvigorated your bed life.
Yeah, really, really got crazy in the bedroom with this game. So
I'm offended by the turkey legs.
fair enough. Really? You can also shoot cue balls? I don't know. You don't have to shoot turkey legs. Are you really offended by it?
A little bit.
That it exists?
I am offended by it.
All right. Well, whatever. It's a great iPhone game. It's free. Ball King.
Is
Try
it in-app purchases or?
There are in-app
ads?
purchases,
Okay.
but they're very easy to ignore.
If you make an iPhone game without in-app purchases, you're fucking up nowadays.
So.
Hey,
it is.
all right, man.
There's my
Hey,
picks.
thanks for coming. We're gonna cut it right here.
Yeah.
That's it?
Unless somebody's got any more picks.
That's it, man. Eric Hart. If you want to see more of him, fucking comment and say we want to see
guess,
more Eric
yeah.
Hart.
Tell me what I'll stand.
Yuri's
on my
got a
head.
real big shot new job now.
I'll
so
take requests. I'll take if you want me.
I'm a little sad, but yeah, this might be.
Unfortunately for you motherfuckers, you're stuck with me.
I might not be on the podcast as regular as I used to be anymore. So.
Well, you got a week before the next one. You can sober up by then, can't you?
Me? All right. So, hey, thanks for coming. Follow us on the tweets. Give us a like. Give us a comment. All that shit.
I need some new.
Thanks
Twitter
a lot
followers.
for tuning in.